Hello, Pisces. How are you doing today? It has been such a energy-charged morning. I can't wait to share all of the information that I've been receiving for you. I really enjoy this reading as well because it's a nice way to cap off the month, and I've been receiving information really all morning for you. So I have a feeling today is going to be a great reading, packed with a lot of information for you. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. If you are coming here for the first time. So if you are a first-time viewer, welcome. If you're a return viewer, welcome back. I see a lot of friendly faces there in chat. It's so good to see everybody. The way that I organize this today is that we're going to start off with some psychic messages, things that I basically channel as I talk to my guides right before I get started. I call that channeled messages. And then we'll move along to the Celtic Cross and take a look at a little bit more depth about what opportunities are in front of you for the month. And I really view everything as an opportunity, even the challenges. And the reason we do these a little bit early is so that you have a good chance to basically make decisions that can shift your trajectory. You always have choice, always free will. That's why I have a good time looking at this and helping you out. The latter part of this is going to focus on the soul path, which is really places where you can make a big shift or difference in your life for not just the month ahead, but I would actually say the year ahead. It's really your long-term focus, your long-term trajectory. And then we'll do a meditation and bring it all together. Okay. So let's get into it. There's so much to talk about. I'd like to first give a little bit of information on how you can support the channel if you would like to. I have a really easy way while you are watching it live, and it's with Super Chat and Super Stickers. And you can use this little button right there to say something nice and support it. And I'll be using a deck that I haven't used in a while today. Through your support, I bought this, and also the Catalyst deck is new. So that's what I do. I basically put it back into supplies. And I see a bunch of channel members, which I welcomed at the beginning. If I didn't see you before I got started, I see some new ones popping in. Thank you as well. You can always click the join button. That's a great way to give back every month. I don't answer questions in chat because I need to kind of go into an intuitive channel. And if I look at the chat, it kind of takes me out of that. So there are times when I do that, like a fireside chat on Instagram or a Q&A here. But today is not that day. This is going to be general. You can watch it for sun, rising, and moon. Also watch on behalf of someone else that you love in your life. Okay, let's get into the messages. So as I was meditating this morning and tuning into your totem, every time I do a reading, I'll go into nature and something will come through as a message, another way for me to connect with what we should be focusing on. I had the beautiful poppy flower come into my head. Here in California, we have those sort of orange ones, orangish yellow ones here that you see. Oops, actually not that one, that one. So these will cover some of the hillsides in just orange gold. That's why it's kind of called the Golden State too, because it looked like the hills were covered in gold, I think, when some of the first settlers came here. For me, that's usually a symbol of summertime. I did a little research on poppies, and I have some other symbolism that popped into mind as well. First of all, when I think of a poppy, I think of sometimes like Alice in Wonderland, right? Or kind of like, you know, when they're in the poppy fields or whatever. Was that actually, yeah, that also was Wizard of Oz, that sort of theme where it kind of takes you into a dream state, right? So either going through the rabbit hole or being in the poppy fields, which now as I'm thinking about it was actually Wizard of Oz. It is about that altered state of consciousness, dreaming, receiving, allowing yourself to kind of go out there on a limb and see what's available to you. It's also a symbol of peace after war. Sometimes you'll see like the red poppy. So lots of beautiful messages about resting, reinventing yourself, death and rebirth, and peace. So we'll talk about all of those today. Thank you, Poppy, for bringing these forward. As we think about like the dreaming state of it and also like just taking care of yourself, I think it's really important this month to remember to breathe, to rest, and know that this is actually going to increase your productivity. Sometimes we just work and work and work until we feel like we're like a little lemming that's going to go over the hillside, or, you know, it's like the Five of Wands card. You're like what am I trying to say here? Like a hamster on a hamster wheel, not like running really fast, but not necessarily seeing the progress or where you're going. Going out on a limb and letting your imagination lead the way, the sort of dreamy quality of the poppy, is what I'm also picking up on here. I had so many way out there dreams as I was thinking about your sign for the past couple of nights, that I really do think there's something to be said for that. Dreams are a fantastic way for intuitive development to take place. They reveal things, they can give you the key to solving something, and they also will help you sometimes get an idea for something that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. So insights, solutions, and also things that you maybe feel but are afraid to kind of go into, hopes, fears, and if someone's trying to hide something from you, usually the dreams will be a great place for that to be revealed. So for me, that's one of my richest places to get information. I would encourage you to start to try to journal or dictate into a recorder when you wake up on your phone or something, so that you can, you'll become better at lucid dreaming and remembering. All I need to write is a few keywords down, and then I can go back into the visuals. It's not like this big record keeping event. I can just do something like this and I know what I was dreaming about last night, right? So if you are feeling stuck, one of the things here that was coming through this flower totem was that if you can just think of another way of looking at it, perspective, right? It's going to be everything. So you're only as stuck as you want to be. And I think that this month, it's a chance for you to take a calculated risk when we're looking at death and rebirth, and take that leap of faith, try something different. If you can see yourself in a different light and suspend disbelief, or a more powerful way to put this would be believe in yourself. See what happens when you believe rather than when you like lose faith or lose trust. So if you believe, then I'm more likely to believe. Some cool things can start to happen in your life when you give into that possibility. The peace portion of this can also have to do with releasing old grudges or feelings of anger or frustration. Make peace with someone or something and shift that focus energetically to yourself inward, or to an external project, and see what happens. Because sometimes when we're focusing or fixating on someone so much, we're really just kind of giving away our power, right? So this is a chance to look at it from a different perspective and say, you know what? This is a waste of time and energy. I've learned what I need to learn, and now I'm going to focus on something else. I've been talking about that a little bit this month, that sometimes the most powerful thing that you can do is just change the channel mentally. And easier said than done, I know, but it does get easier with time, because our mind is it's kind of like habitual. As you start to think in a certain way, the program rewrites. And so I guess part of what you could be doing this month is resetting the code, or resetting the lens or the camera, thinking of it as an old-fashioned sort of like movie camera. Like you just want to move it in a different direction and start recording there and see what else is going to happen. Because we're looking at a plant totem this month, not just sort of like an animal, nature, or energetic one, there's always the energy of like pushing through, you know, like there's a little poppy seed. California poppies, you just grow them by seed and they'll pop through. They like poor soil. That's the interesting thing with California poppies. They don't want really rich ground. They like to grow between the cracks, and usually you'll see them on the side of the highway. It's kind of like Queen of Wands energy. You can grow even in a situation that would otherwise be sort of antithetical to growth, right? So this is a chance where you can thrive anywhere, especially in poor situations where, you know, other people may be thinking like, how am I going to do it? You're going to figure out a way. So success is within reach. It requires a little bit of a push or a little bit of a stretch. And like any plant, they have to reach up for the light, right? So this is your message to keep reaching up for that light, keep focusing on what you're trying to do. Now we're going to get into something really cool, and I haven't seen this for any other sign in a while. I don't know if I've seen this before, but you get a chance this month to do what I'm calling a living life review. So basically a time to reevaluate. The way that this came through in the meditation and in the dream for me was that it was, I saw like this line, a queue of people basically, and some people were getting very impatient. Some people were trying to ask for something and it wasn't happening. And what I realized here is that it was basically you're getting a chance to do a review. And the discussion at the counter, the person that was kind of taking stock of what was going on, was the currency. And there were a couple things. We're going to talk about it today. It was like jealousy and judgment. There may be things that are coming up with that. But what I saw was you were doing well. And there was this contract. It was your life contract that I was looking at. And one of the things that I saw was pay attention to how you are touching people in your life with love, with your words, with your deeds. Because when we look at the currency, when they were tabulating what your balance was, it wasn't in how much you got paid. It wasn't in what you did for a living. It was, what is your effect on the planet? And also, what did you choose to work on a soul level? I got that you're doing a good job. There are a couple things to focus on. But the reminder was, oh my goodness, time moves quickly. And I have a quote here from Lord of the Rings, because I'm a sci-fi geek. But it says, all we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. We can't control how much we have. We can't take back the things that have happened. By the way, it's Gandalf that did that, and J.R.R. Tolkien wrote this. But all you have to decide right here and right now is, who am I? What do I stand for? What do I want to do? What's my legacy? Why am I here? It's not just to make money. You may think it is, but there's more than that. Imagine that you're standing in line, ready to judge yourself or to be judged by your higher self and by the divine. What would you look back on and think, yeah, that was totally worth the time? Because time is the constraint. Time is finite by design. It gives context and value to the time we spend on this planet, or to the space that we occupy while we're here. Use it as if it were like diamonds, right? Use it wisely. Don't wish away a day, a moment, a second. Don't fast forward. Everything should be worth the time and energy and effort. If you feel like you are just kind of like running on empty at a job, in a relationship, talking to somebody, or that they're not listening to you, or that this is just a waste, that is a cosmic wake-up call that you are putting yourself into sort of like a spiritual deficit. Go into a space where you feel like every single second is waking you up or moving you in the right direction. And I understand that there are some days better than others, but the batting average, it's pretty easy to see where you're at in certain situations. So you should be trending towards, this is a good investment of time and energy. Love was one of the things that came through as I was standing in that queue with you. And the question from the person is like, how are you using and growing this currency? So it's nothing about your bank account, your lessons and your love. That's what you take to you when you go there and you look at your contract. That was the thing. It was a contract review, like you were going and signing a deed to a house, right? Or a job contract. It was your soul contract, and they were grading you on love and lessons and impact on the world. So love yourself, love others, and help others do the same. Help them practice good self-love, and help them also find a way to love people around them, or to infuse that energy of love. If what you're doing in your life, in your relationship, as a parent, as a teacher, as a coworker, as whatever, is not accomplishing that goal, it is time for a reset. Living life review means don't wait until you die to make the changes that you need. Make them now, because there won't be any regret. I want you to live and die without regret. And that's what your purpose is in today's reading, is looking at how can we find places to pivot, redirect, rearrange things so that you are living your best life, living without regret, and making some sort of an indelible thumbprint on this world. You should leave it better than when it was when you came into it. So every conversation, every job, every situation, you should try to elevate it, or just walk away from it if you can't elevate it. So elevation is a big theme as well. The one area that they wanted me to kind of bring across to you may not be you doing this, it might be something you're receiving. So just listen without prejudice and see how it fits in your life. But themes of jealousy or judgment may surface. You may be receiving that from someone else. You may be triggered in some way, feeling one or both of these things. One of the ways to counter this is to use the jealousy when it pops up as inspiration. So always celebrate the success of others, especially if it's been something that they've been working for a long time, if well-deserved and hard-earned sort of success, and then use it to inspire. Find out how they did it. Pick their brain a little bit and say, how did you do this? This is fantastic. I'm excited for you. And I want to try to do something like this too. That's a much more healthier way to approach it than, gosh, why is that always happening to them? Nothing ever happens to me. So that may be the beginning of the conversation in your head, but then take it in a different place and think, well, all right, well, what can I do? How can I, if they can do it, so can I. And not in a sort of disparaging way. Anybody can do something. You've got to kind of like push yourself in that direction. If others in your life are pushing the jealousy towards you, if they are not happy of success that you've achieved, then you really got to look at balance and reciprocation. Why is this happening? Was it something where they only wanted to be friends with you when you weren't successful? Are they threatened? Or, like usually this is a projection from the person. So look at how you can balance out these situations, and maybe it's time to step away from that and look at other things, right? All right. So overall, really cool stuff. I want to say with the rebirth portion of this, it's transformation. And so I'm seeing this as a chance for you to remold, to break through any sort of blocks that you have. And that's what I want to help you with this month, okay? I'm going to neatly stack up all of these index cards. I'd like to welcome everybody. It seems like we got a good crowd today. Thank you again to my moderators, Maria and Dakota, for helping keep everything organized. If you have any questions, you can throw it to them. Again, this is general for all Pisces, but if you ever feel like you just need to hang out, show up to any of my readings, especially the beginning portion, because the messages may resonate. Whoever shows up in the room, I tend to have messages for you, so you're always welcome to show up. And a lot of times I'll get questions from people asking like, this is in my Venus, or this is not even in my chart, but it's resonating. Good. Just hang out and see what happens. And if it doesn't, remember, I'm reading for the month ahead, so check back later next month. All right, I'm going to remain quiet as I take a look at the messages in front of me. So let's see what's coming through for you for the month of March, Pisces. All right, Pisces, let's take a look at these messages and see what's coming through for you. So we have a beautiful card here in your catalyst. The catalyst, by the way, is just a way to kind of stay in the highest energy, avoid any sort of pitfalls or accidents, etc. So we have the Maiden, which is an Empress card, basically. And this is definitely a sign of growth, fertility, opportunity, and also the ability to regain control over things if you're looking for that. We also have an Empress smack dab in the center. So you've got got double divine feminine energy here. And very sort of similar, these are obviously very different decks, but if you look closely, it looks like there's these like floral pattern on her dress there as well. So although we didn't get the poppy, I'm getting the beautiful sort of floral energy that I was picking up on for you. Interestingly enough, as I was thinking about what your totem would be, I got the scales. I was like, no, they're gonna say we're not Libra, but we actually got Justice in the middle as well, like crossing that, so it makes sense. So when I'm looking at these two strong divine feminine energies, there could be a power struggle that you're trying to sort out this month. And it could be someone very near and dear to your heart, because when I see that energy, it's basically saying this could be mother, sister, best friend, or there could just be someone who is competitive with you. And we had a lot of messages this month about jealousy or just kind of trying to be happy and celebrate someone else's success. So I see very strong energy and some similarities between the two of you. We have this beautiful rose color all throughout this. So one of the things that you can do in meditation is to infuse your aura with that color. Even though green is the color of the heart, rose is a very peaceful color when you're working with negative energy. So if there's anyone in your life that is kind of like vindictive or jealous or just kind of a little bit tricky, rose energy is really nice. And that's why a lot of times, you'll be told to carry some rose quartz with you to diffuse energy just like that. So I like what I'm seeing here. And I think that that's a great way to help move on to something better, basically. Okay. So when I see double Empress energy, my question to you would be, what are you trying to change? What are you trying to control? What do you want to develop? It's a fruitful card. Now it was on its side here. So for some of you, it's about looking at it from a different angle or trying to find a different way out. Or if there's someone that's not looking you eye to eye in a conversation, this is really about trying to get on the same page mentally as well. We talked about a lot of this with the Empress card here, but I will say for some of you, this might also be very interesting. If you were trying to start a family, this is, if I've never seen a symbol for surrogacy, this would definitely be surrogacy. So there might be a different way or an adoption, a baby, but I see another woman involved with that, however that may factor out. For the rest of us, this could also mean that there could be a chance to partner up and get something done better. Because what I'm looking at is like two minds are better than one, and two people might be required to birth, create, or bring forth this project. So the challenge will be how two queens can work together, how two empresses can coexist. And that's something that you would have to basically deliberate on at the beginning. And so we have the Justice card, contractually agree what's right, what's not. Division of labor, equal is going to be very important, equal division of labor. The other thing here is in a partnership, I actually don't read gender so much into the court cards or any of the major arcana so much. So two queens or two kings are actually quite good to me. So the key thing here is you might have met your match this month if you're trying to find love, or if you're in love, or if you're in business and there's a really strong relationship. The key relationship in your life is going to require give and take, balance, sometimes letting things go. So that's going to be the trickiest thing, is what's right for you, and how are you going to do this? Some of you might be negotiating a contract. We've got justice. You might be waiting for a decision. You might be making the decision, because justice is really about that moment where you still have a chance to affect the outcome. The good news is with this crossing the center card, it should be happening this month. If there's something that you've been waiting for to make up your mind or to get a decision, this is decision time. March is decision time. And you have some time now, if you're watching it live, to figure out what to do to kind of get things in the right place. I like what I see here in the deep past. We have a reversed 9 of Wands, but this is a card of pushing through. I'm not giving up. This is the survivor card in the minor arcana. And with the 9 of Wands, one thing that I would say for you is to focus on, when we were talking about rest and health, this card for me can sometimes indicate a migraine, right? So if you have been just dealing with a lot of mental stuff or feeling like, oh, there's just too much going on, this is the time for you to really find a way to let go of some of that. Get it out, talk to someone, make sure that you aren't stressing yourself out so much that you might be putting your health at risk, because I mean, you can have things like a stroke at any age. And this is when I see something like 9 of Wands and concentrated energy in the mental space, it can be like a mental breakdown, a stroke, etc. So you want to do the stress relief so that doesn't happen for the rest of you. It's just saying rest and then push on through, because this is a card of finishing, surviving, and surprising people. One of the best ways to I don't believe in getting even, but one of the best ways to sort of flip the script a little bit, and that's what we see here, is like flip it upside down, look at it from a different angle, is to, when somebody doesn't believe in you, you go above and beyond to show them your capacity. And you prove your dream, your vision correct. And you disprove their disbelief, if you will, like double negatives, but you get what I'm saying. So carry on, a little bit of self-care to make sure that you don't overdo it, but carry on is what I see with this one. We have the Moon card in the recent past, which is all about the dreams that I was talking about. And the interesting thing with the Moon card is anything can come through in this. We sort of see this mythic creature here. It almost looks like a gigantic spider or a lobster or some sort of sea creature. And then we have the typical sort of, it looks like a wolf and a dog here on the side, usually what it is. Take the imagery out. And what I see with the Moon is dreams, desires, fears, of course, and then highly intuitive downloads. But they are coded, because what is the Moon? It's a reflection. And this is your time to decode and go into that and think about things. A lot of times you can't hide from yourself, let's put it this way. So if there's something going on in your life and you think you fooled yourself, your dreams will come through and say, no, you haven't. This is what it is. And it will keep coming through in dreams until you solve it. If you're having dreams about moving, then it's probably time to move on. If you're having dreams about dying, it's time to make a change in your life. It doesn't mean that you're necessarily dying. It's usually a transformational dream. If you have dreams of feeling exposed or not having your clothes on, it's also about people being able to see too much or see through you, or there's a part of yourself that you're self-conscious on. Dreams are fascinating. Don't take them at face value. Look at it. It's like a poem, right? Each word can have multiple layers or meanings. And as you go deeper into the subtext, it's like, that's what this is about. Okay, so have fun and figure out, just like the 78 cards here, every card, every image has a meaning and it has multiple ones. You got to thread together a series of dreams or how you feel when you're in the dream, and then put a context to it. Spend some time with that. It's important. I have to make a comment and a connection between the Moon and the Seven of Swords. Alone, this would not be something that I would worry much about. With the two of these cards, I would say accountability is really important. If there's something that you've committed to do to yourself, the message this month, like we saw with the Nine of Wands, I don't have a third hand, I would pull that up, is to basically see it through. This is a card that can sometimes come through when we're, like I said, trying to fool ourselves, or someone else is trying to fool us. And together, this is showing me everything will see the light of day, and you're only running from yourself. So I want you to try to just finish what you started in that respect. If there's someone in your life and they've had a habit of either saying something that wasn't true or committing to something but falling short of that commitment, this is the time to break that cycle. Because the Seven of Swords is someone that you can't count on. If they say they're going to show up, if they're going to be there for you, something always falls through. That's kind of like a flaky card, if you will. The nicest and highest version of this is someone that just can't keep track of what they said they're going to do. But the lower frequency of it is someone who knows what they're doing and trying to get away with it. So one thing that you want to focus on this month is going through and having proper boundaries. And if someone comes through and shows up in a way that isn't right, call it out early. Because if you wait, it just kind of like builds up. So when you get that initial sort of gut instinct that, time to move on, or I need to have a talk, or I need to block this person, whatever's going on, follow that, and then you're going to save yourself time and energy down the road. One of the ways that you're going to be able to decide that, I talk about this a lot, but the Five and the Seven of Swords are sister cards or brother cards to me. One usually shows up, and then the other one is quickly behind in its heels. So this is in your crowning position. The Five of Swords and the Seven of Swords together can be seen as an opportunity to cut losses and also to pick and choose when you want to fight for something. Not every fight is worth it. Remember what we were talking about with time being finite. So if there's someone in your life and they say something that's crazy, it's maybe not a battle that you have to fight. Or if you're seeing something going on around you and people don't want your time, energy, or input, maybe don't give it until they come to you. Pick and choose what's a good energetic exchange. If people are resistant to feedback or change, then you've got to kind of focus on something else. So 5 of Swords to me is going from here to here, or turning the lens. The Seven of Swords is about making sure that anything that has been happening as a habit is broken when it comes to accountability, transparency, honesty, etc. So those were the 2 sort of things, with also discernment, right? Judgment, because when I was in line with you, queued up, talking to your guide, they were asking about judgment or jealousy. So if there's someone in your life that's kind of coming through, we got both of those energies with the 5 and the 7. Let's look at some brighter cards. I just had to highlight those because they came through. We have Queen of Pentacles, one of my favorite cards here in the near future. Another queen, another sign of fertility. Lots and lots of flowers all over this deck. This looks more like peonies to me, or roses than poppies, but be that as it may, I see a really fruitful quarter of the year that's approaching for you. The reversal of this is about taking some of that time, energy, and love and putting it within, deciding, what do I need to work on for myself? Also in our life, if there was someone, whether it's a partner or a parent, because she can represent both, who just didn't give you what you needed, this is about making sure that you do that for you. So if you had a mom or dad that was just distant or didn't express love, you're going to break that cycle with your friends, with your loved one, with your children if you have them. You're also going to practice self-love, self-care, and appreciate yourself. And it's not easy to sort of undo like a lack of support from someone in your life, but you can lead by example. And as you start to put that love out there, you'll start to receive it back, and you'll start to attract a higher caliber and frequency of friends in your life too. So where are you going to invest? This is an investment card when it's reversed. It's also an expenditure card. Looking at the fact that I don't see a lot of other finance or resource cards, then it is a choice. It's a balance. You could kind of put the Queen of Pentacles reversed and the Justice card together, and it's almost like the 2 of Pentacles. You might have to put something on pause to focus on something else. But I think it's a choice that's worth making, okay? So figure out what's going to give and what you are going to focus on, and I think that's the place to really put your energy. All right, we have the 7 of Wands. I've been talking the past month about Wands. It's a very malleable suit. There's really nothing that's unsuccessful in Wands. All of them are good cards. Swords are the tricky ones. Wands, they're pretty fun actually. So we have the 7 of Wands in reverse. With the 7 of Wands, there's a lot going on. What are you doing maybe that is distracting you? Is there anything that you can let go of? Or is there something that you can do to become more productive? The 7 is interesting because subtract it and you're more successful. So you could let go of something, do less, and do it better, and it's great. Add 1 and you have more abundance. You have more predictability. Are you doing something where you're just missing a chance to capitalize on something? If you're small business, maybe if you tried adding or subtracting something, or maybe a little bit of both, then something cool could happen. So this is about how you are focusing and how you are spending time, energy, and especially mental resources. You can do it alone, but you don't have to, okay? Is there someone in your life that's pushing you around? Because this is also a pushy card. Both of these are pushy when they're reversed. So it feels like it's getting better. This is very pushy. 10 of Wands reversed is the worst. That can be like mental, verbal, physical abuse. This one is just someone that may be trying to get their way. So what I feel like you might be doing this month is finding a way for yourself to stand up for what matters, to speak up even if it makes you feel uncomfortable, and to really get into a place of power. Some of you may be focusing on the fact that we've got like Moon, 7 of Swords, and 5 of Swords and freaking out. I am focusing on the fact that you've got 3 queens. You've got the Maiden, the Empress, and the Queen of Pentacles. Power, power, and more power. So basically what I see here is a lot of potential. Queen of Pentacles, a very fertile card that oftentimes symbolizes giving birth or creating a lasting, wonderful place to sort of grow in. So I see that fertility energy, the Empress, power, respect, the Maiden. It's almost like the 3 stages here because I think of Maiden as being younger. So a lot of times when you think of the fates, right, it's usually younger, older, and then very older, somewhere in the middle. So what I'm seeing here is looking at your life at different stages as well and thinking like, what have I learned from youth? What am I doing now? What do I want to do when I'm older? knowing where you're headed is so important. One thing that I forgot to mention as we were queued up in that soul review, if you will, is that they wanted to know what next. What do you want to do next in this life and in others? And I didn't have an answer because I was kind of watching you and trying to figure things out. But it helped me realize that you should always be figuring out, how is this helping me accomplish goals in this lifetime? And what's even beyond this lifetime? Like, we should be thinking about how we're resolving karma, getting ready for the next phase, and getting ready for the next life. Always clearing out things so that this life and others can be benefiting from that. We have the Ace of Wands here in the environment. A great idea, something that's ready to be tapped into. This plus this equals more success. Like I said, the Eight of Wands is very good. So it feels like you either need to reach out for something or let go of something to find that next level of success. This could be a good idea that again requires a little bit of forging of energy. If you've met somebody, this is showing mutual attraction, and that could be exciting for you. This is also vitality, and when it's upright, someone around you might have that sort of energy. You could learn from them as well, and it feels like your environment is directly affecting your own vitality. So if you're feeling a little bit scattered, clean up the house, reorganize things. If you're feeling down or something like that, look at the colors on the wall. Look at also who you're surrounded with, who you're hanging out with, who you're working with, and see if they're zapping out that sort of vitality. Both the literal environment and then also sort of the people and the things that you surround yourself with. Super important. All right, now we're looking at possibilities. And for some of you, maybe hopes or frustrations here. We have the Knight of Cups in reverse. So the question with this card is, when will I be happy? When is it my turn? How can I be happier in my life in this moment? And we see this person, this knight, kind of submerged, half submerged in the water, trying to get out of it. The reversal of this could just be a feeling of a lot. You're dealing with a lot, or you're looking for a lot. You're hungry, you're desiring something else, trying to fill up the cup because it's empty. So passion, dreams, like we were talking about with the channeled messages, trying to figure out what it is that really inspires you. Don't give up or discount a dream until you've had a chance to dream it and try it. Because until you give a shot, you don't know. Everything that people will say around it is just their own projections. So give it a shot. If you're not happy, that's okay. Ask for help and figure out. When I'm looking at like 5 and 7 of Swords, it's just being honest with yourself and deciding, how am I going to fight my way to what I do want? Sometimes it requires a little bit of work, right? Going after a dream, going after an aspiration. For those of you that have worked through creating your own business, you know this firsthand because you work all the time, right? Like it's a 7-day-a-week job. You're always thinking about the business. You're always figuring a way to do it. If you're an artist and you've created something that you love, a lot of times it takes months and years or decades to do something that matters. But it's worth it in the end, right? So this is a reminder that reaching up, pushing up like the poppy kind of coming through the ground, that's what this is about this month, okay? The only thing that's standing as a kind of, it's not even a block, it's a turnstile that you need to go through, and you have to just decide. Like in a turnstile, you can go forward or you can go all the way backward, right? And go in the other direction. So you want to move through this little frustration and move past it. That's all this is a turnstile. So the 7 of Swords is going to flip you around a little bit, and you may go once through, you may go around a couple times, but you're not going to go backward. And that's the main thing that I got with the 7 of Swords. This time, you're going to choose a different direction. Sideways, forward, anything but back, okay? So you decide, or it's kind of like a turnabout in driving. You just don't want to go back into the direction that you just came from. You can go right, forward, or left. Don't go back. All right. Let's expand the forecast, and we're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny and get some additional insights on what's coming through for the month ahead. We'll start with health. Excuse me. Health is multi-part. We'll be looking at your mind, your body, and your spirit. Excuse me, I need one more drink. All right. So we have sadness and isolation here. I feel like everyone on the planet has experienced some degree of this over the course of the past, 15 months or so. So what we see here is stretching, moving, trying to find a way to break through that. And the sadness is normal. If we were happy all the time, then we would lack the context and understanding of what it was to be, you know, the opposite. Like, we wouldn't understand what happy was. If all you had was sugar and you never had like something sour or something tart or whatever, you wouldn't appreciate it. So sadness gives context to success and happiness. It also teaches us what we don't want, which is just as important as what we want. So if you are sad, work on nurturing yourself, take care of yourself, and get the help that you need. If you're feeling isolated, reach out. Try to break through the barriers. And these can be virtual. That's what we're doing right now. You know, we're all hanging out together. We're all having a connection. We're all spending some time together, all 335 of us or so. So this is an exciting time to do stuff like this, because technology can help us break through. This is more symbolic, though. For some of you, if you are at a job or in a relationship, you can be alone together or together alone. I don't know what the best way to put this is. But basically, if you feel like you're not being seen, this is the time to not be a wallflower. So if the partner is ignoring you, if your friends are ignoring you, or if you're at a job and you're not being nurtured, if you see that there's a literal glass, like not literal, but there's a metaphorical glass ceiling and you can't push through that, this is a time to sort of think about, well, what do I want to do? How can I find a way out of this? Because this isn't it. And sometimes it takes being in that space to understand it. That was the gift of 2020 and even the beginning of 2021, is that things were meant to fall apart a little bit. We were supposed to be with ourselves a little bit, or with ourselves and our partners, to figure out, do we have what it takes? You do have what it takes, but maybe the people, the partnerships, or the business that you're associated with, not so much. And this is a time to reach up. And that's really what we see here, is rebound, right? Okay, let's look a little bit at the other health cards here. This is just getting real. Literally, if I could caption this, I would say, be real with yourself, be honest with yourself. And if there's something that you want to change, you can totally change it. It just requires accountability, right? And the other health message here for the 9 of Wands is mental health. I was getting like migraine, but this can also be too much pressure. So if you are constantly sort of receiving too much work, whether it's physical or mental, it has an effect on your capacity to deal with things. And then you can just sort of like, you know, blow up at little things. So focusing on stress relief is going to be really important. And then just balance overall. Whether it's the Justice card or the 2 of Pentacles, it's always a balancing act. But there's more power with the Justice card. It's a major. And to me, it indicates the only thing that's missing, usually you would see a woman in this card. So you need to sit at the table and make the decision. That's what I'm seeing. Only you can make the decision to be happier, to be healthier. Don't let someone else decide, okay? For fertility issues this month, there could be different paths, because we have the Moon card, which in and of itself can show challenges with that. And then we have a couple of other energies around divine feminine. So looking at different forms of like IVF, or having a surrogate or adoption, that's something that I'm seeing for those of you in a family. And then again, for the rest of you, it's that there could be help and ease with working or spreading the energy with other people. You don't have to do it alone. I see partnership no matter what. All right, let's move along to wealth. So we have the Hungry Ghost. Interesting. It says obsession, scarcity consciousness, and attachment, yet the card is reversed. So what we're really going to do is flip the words around, and it would be, instead of obsessions, I would say it would be releasing things and focusing on a healthy, it's almost like just releasing contracts, because we have the contract card at the center, and unconditional, okay? So if I were to find the flip side of obsession, I would say it was kind of like unconditional, and there's no strings attached. Scarcity consciousness, it's abundance, right? You have what it takes to make something happen. And attachment is detachment. So if you're trying to manifest something, it's good to know what you want, but if you constantly focus on, I must have it, it has to happen, that's not going to work. So no strings attached, unconditional, focusing on abundance, not scarcity, and detaching from needing or wanting something to happen. These are the keys to being successful in business. Now, if you're feeling like there isn't enough resources or something, it is time to balance things out. You would have a chat with someone. So in a partnership, both sides need to be pulling equal weight. In a business situation, if you're not getting the right pay. This could also be even something that you fight for. We have a lot of divine feminine energy, and I know I have a lot of women that watch the channel. So for those of you that are working and your pay isn't even, yeah, fight for it. Talk to human resources and ask why there's some sort of a gap in pay if you're doing the same work, or ask what's necessary to get to the next level. This is about evening up the scales. So somehow, somewhere, things aren't quite where they need to be in partnerships, in business, and possibly even in love. And this is a time to bring that into balance, basically. The other thing is, if you have to sign a contract, don't be afraid to ask questions. Definitely get a lawyer to look at it. And if it's too good to be true, or it's not good enough for you, walk away from it. It's actually okay, because this person might be avoiding a Seven of Swords moment too. It's like, nope, been there, done that. I'm walking on the turnstile in the other direction, okay? So get what you need contractually this month. Balance is the main message. In relationships, we have show simple acts of kindness. A simple act of kindness can energize you, bring happiness to those around you. Beautiful message. Love all of the sort of animals around this person. And what we saw here was exactly just that. This can be an offering, right? Aces are new beginnings, but it's also possibly you offering something to someone, an idea, a thought, a different way of looking at stuff, a compliment, and a heartfelt compliment, not something that's canned or not something that's coming forth because you want an exchange. So if someone's truly always there for you, just say, I'm so lucky to have your support. Thank you. That's it. Simple thank you. Or, just saying you're amazing and meaning it, and just seeing how the person reacts. So complimenting, supporting, and then reminding that part of the balance is that it's nice to receive those as well. You shouldn't have to fish for it. But if you have someone in your life that only takes compliments, only receives assistance, then let them know you need this. You need to work on reciprocity, right? Okay. Flip it upside down. Question your beliefs. The card was reversed, but who cares, because it's the same message. It's just saying for some of you, you might need to look at it from a different angle. So it doesn't matter how you look at it, but it's kind of going into the brighter side of things, trying to figure out what you're learning from it. And also, if you've always been doing something the same way, this is an encouragement to understand that that's kind of the definition of stagnation sometimes. Growth cannot happen through just this constant cycle, of trying it the same way and expecting a different outcome. So this is a chance, if ever, to try something incredibly different and see where it takes you. I think that that's one of the things that the past year and a half has given us a chance to do, more so than any point in history. People will not look so negatively upon you if you're deciding to quit your job, go back to school, try a different avenue, start your own business, get a divorce, get in a relationship. You can kind of do whatever you want right now, and people will chalk it up to the world is crazy and you're doing what you need to do to be happy. So take advantage of this moment in time and try something different, right? Let's quickly review the messages, and then we're going to go a little bit deeper. And I'd like to look at some of the sort of accountability things that popped up. I'd like to look at some other areas for growth and see where it takes us. So we'll go into the soul path in just a moment. Quick review. Stick with me. If you just joined, this is a perfect time. Otherwise, there might be some additional insights before we get into the next part of the reading. So I mentioned at the beginning that your spirit totem this time came from nature. It's poppy, the flower, poppies. And these are symbols for rest, for rebirth or recreation, and also for peace. Remember to breathe and rest this month, and sleep as well. I think that's so important. The sleep piece is cool because it brings you into kind of like that Wizard of Oz energy of being in the poppies and dreaming and seeing what comes. You need to sometimes have the ability to just see what comes through next, right? I can't remember. Is it Wizard of Oz or Alice in Wonderland? Either way, it's magic. So it's important for you to just have that moment of connecting to the divine and going way out there. I like the sort of altered state of consciousness. That really is what you experience with, for those of you that meditate. You go out of body. You get a little bit, this feeling of being dizzy, of disconnecting. It's great. It's a natural high. So a place where you can get that natural high is through meditation if you're not doing that. Go out on a limb and really trust what you're receiving here. If you get a strange dream or idea and you want to explore it, do the research, see what might come of that. It could be something that is really, really something that could feed your soul. Dreams reveal the truths. They reveal the things we don't want to see. They help counterbalance what we saw, or counteract what we saw here in the 7 and the 5 of Swords. So trust the dreams. You're stuck if you believe you're stuck, but you can equally be unstuck if you allow yourself to just move and try something new, right? Thank you for saying it was Alice. I appreciate it. All right. This is the time to take a calculated risk or leap of faith. I think, as I was saying, with the flip it upside down card, it's really important for you to just try it, to just entertain a possibility, right? Don't always see it as black and white. Allow yourself to kind of view your own life in a different lens. It's like putting on a pair of glasses. If you can't see it from a different perspective, then it won't happen. So make peace with someone or something. Shift the focus inward instead. It's going to be very, very helpful. Because you're just, like I said, there might be someone that's better at receiving than giving, and you don't want to kind of have things be imbalanced there. Growth is at your fingertips. It's a matter of pushing through or reaching up for something that matters. You are going to need to stretch a little bit to make things happen, so don't give up. Imagine that you're in a life review right now. When you die, by the way, what happens is your soul goes into a review. Usually there is a guide with you to help you with that passage. And one of the things that I also saw while I was watching this was this sense of going through all the emotions and seeing past, present, and future all happening at once. Like you realized who you were before, how this fit into it, and really how far you were traveling on that path of success. So do it now in this life and think, wow, you know what? I've always had this dream to follow this. Maybe it's because that's my path. I need to explore this, etc. Don't wait until you are sick or until you die to start to have those feelings of clarity or regret. One of the currencies that was coming through was love. Really focus on how are you using this? Are you inspiring love in your own life with others? Are you helping others see that same energy of love? That should be your main focus. Time is finite, but the fact that it is limited makes it something that gives our experience on this planet value. It gives context to the time that we spend here. Don't ever wish it away. Don't waste it. If you are, it's time to get out of whatever is causing you to do that. The line from Lord of the Rings was, all we have to do is decide what to do with the time that is given with us. Don't ask for more. Don't be angry that there's too little, too much, whatever. Just try to make the most with it, because each one of us was given a different amount, and it is exactly enough to accomplish the goal that you need. And that's all you need to know. Just decide now what to do with it, rather than wishing it away or wishing for more. What's your legacy? When you leave, you should be thinking about that. Is it starting a family and having children that love you? Is it changing policies or politics? Is it coming up with some sort of a medical advance? Is it just living and changing and understanding your own power? Whatever. Figure out what it is that you're going to do that either amps up your energy or makes this a better place. This should be a better place when you leave. It's kind of like cleaning up the dishes after you've used them. Don't leave dirty dishes in this lifetime. Themes of jealousy and judgment may surface with yourself or with others. There's a question of perhaps a conflict or a conversation that you don't want to have. I think it's important to face it, though, and that's why this came through. And celebrate the success of others. They should be able to do the same for you. Use their success as inspiration to do great things in your life. We have so much divine feminine energy here. We have the Maiden, which is essentially the Empress. We have the Empress. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles. So Queen, Queen, and Queen. When I look at Maiden, it could be a younger sort of energy, and this could be more mature energy here. So it is kind of looking at how to mesh together experiences of youth and age, and also remain young at heart always. It doesn't matter. Age is just a number. Time is just a construct. It does give us some sort of understanding of what we're doing here, but these are just constructs at the end. With the Empress card, control, fertility, abundance. That's what's at the center of this. And that's all you need to focus on, is kind of like, how can I move things forward? How am I being accountable? Am I taking control of the situation? All of that. You have to make the decision, you and you alone. You need to show up here in this chair. It's empty, it's waiting. So don't let someone else make a decision that's important for you. And if they're trying to do so, try to stop them, try to step in, have an equal seat at that table. Push on through, you're almost there. The Nine of Wands is very close to graduating, very close to the Ten of Wands. Some of you might be ready to move, but you have to wait a little bit for resources. You have to wait a little bit for timing. So there's that element as well. This is almost like a hermit when you look at it, but it's not. It's the Nine of Wands. So for some of you, I would say this is your time to step out and be seen, because I'm getting a mesh of the two cards and energies with this particular image. Don't be afraid of the unknown. Don't make something bigger than it is. Pay attention to your dreams and meditations, and really allow your dreams to take flight, not your fears. Fight the fights worth fighting. Don't fight the other ones. And what I get with both the 5 and the 7 is, you know, if you're worried about someone getting away with something, they're not going to get away with it. And likewise, you have to be accountable. This is a time to try to make things right. Queen of Pentacles reversed, really focusing now on taking care of yourself. I think it's really a personal investment card. Where do you want to grow? And what do you need to do to maybe make that necessary sacrifice or shift in your life to allow this to happen? 7 of Wands, a lot of great stuff going on for you. You can handle everything that's coming your way. You don't need to do it alone. I actually feel teamwork is a key thing to this. Just make sure the contract is ironed out. Speaking of contracts, push and fight for this. If someone's trying to get away with something in a contract, no. This is when you get a lawyer involved. Justice can also be legal counsel. Ace of Wands, you've got a great idea. It's worth fighting for. Put energy into it. You might be meeting someone new this month, and I'll pause for a second and talk about new relationships. Like I said, all I really got was mostly divine feminine. We have one divine masculine here, but what I see here really is two people equally balanced, but the Empress is very much in control and understands herself. The Queen of Pentacles is a little distracted. She's focusing more on what's in it for me. And this other person, there's more, I would say with Empress, there's a nurturing quality, a maternal quality. And in this one, there is more of a monetary gain or personal gain. So one of the things you need to do is kind of like shock that other person into, it takes two to tango. We both have to be giving and receiving in this relationship. So strong energy, very compatible, very similar, but sometimes when it's similar, it can cause, you know, friction or fighting. I get it more in the verbal and day-to-day life, not so much in the physical. It feels like there's physical compatibility. For those of you that are retired, widowed, or single and happy and don't have someone in your life, this is really more about finding that sort of core group that you want to hang out with. And I'm getting a lot of divine feminine energy in that too. So it might just be hanging out with people that, you know, you feel like you can be yourself with. So anyway, as we're looking here at mental health and emotional health, the King of Cups reverse is saying this is your time to be happy. It's also your time to receive. So make sure that partnerships are giving you what you're putting into them. And finally, the turnstile. I've never looked at it this way, but this 7 of Swords is the turnstile. Move forward, take a turn to the right or to the left, but don't go back. It's normal, okay, and I would say expected for a lot of us to be going through the feelings of sadness and isolation. The choice is, though, what are you going to do about it? And as we look at health this month, I think it's about deciding to go after something that matters, to push back on things that aren't satisfactory, and to focus on your mental health the most this month. Also, just to realize if someone around you is making you feel this, or if a place that you're working or living makes you feel like this, then it's time to spring out and to find your own path, basically. With wealth, looking at the inverse of all of these things, obsession, scarcity consciousness, and attachment. Scarcity consciousness means that you feel like, I'll never have enough. It'll never work. There's not going to be enough. The fact that we've got like queen, queen, and queen tells me, yes, you do have enough, or you'll find a way to make it work. So if someone won't let you do that or doesn't believe that you have that, this is a chance for you to really say, you know what? I can spend my time and energy somewhere else, and I'm going to do that perhaps. This is quitting. It can be divorce, but the way that this is placed, it's really a choice. This can be divorce, separation. It can also be signing a contract and deciding to partner up. So just really weigh the decisions in front of you, and you'll make the right one. This is a card of knowing how to do it and when to do it, all right? So just pick the timing that makes sense. And I do see this as an investment month, probably an investment in self. Be careful not to spread resources too thin, and don't be afraid to have a conversation about the resources. It's important. For love, show how you feel. Basically, no more lip service. This would be walking the walk and showing up, and also on a daily basis coming through and making sure that your partner's doing the same thing. A simple act can speak so much more than, you know, chocolates, a bouquet of flowers, or an apology that's 3 pages long. Just showing up and really showing how you feel is going to be important. And finally, flip it upside down. Definitely look at things from a different perspective. If you always approach it one way, then yes, you're going to have challenges. It's going to be difficult to be able to have a breakthrough. So don't be afraid to look at it from another point of view. We're going to move on to the soul path. I want to remind you of this before I forget. I'm also going to do a collective reading on the 28th, so join me then if you will. I'll talk more about that when we get to the next part. All right, let's go into the soul path, where I'm going to look at some of the challenges here. I want to look at justice, because I'm really curious why there's hesitation, or maybe why some of you might have a hard time either showing up at the table or getting someone else to show up. So let's see what's going on with justice. Okay, Ace of Cups. And it was reversed. So interesting. So for many of you, I do feel like you are givers with all of the divine feminine energy. Maiden, Empress, Queen of Pentacles. Highly sensitive too, of course you are. Of course Pisces is sensitive. So this is something where I feel like some of you may be afraid to hurt someone's feelings. And I get it. It's hard sometimes. It could be a job. It could be a relationship. It could just be some sort of an agreement that you made, but you realize now, I can't do this anymore. I'm not happy with this, or I want to try something else. And I'm afraid that people may not love me, or may not, or I might hurt them by wanting to go in my own direction. I feel like this month more than ever, it's important to feel that sense of fulfillment, satisfaction. And I want to remind you that it is your divine right to be happy and to feel love in your life. So if your parent, friends, whoever in your life maybe made you feel like you didn't deserve it, the Ace of Cups is literally the universe saying, yes, you do. Have a seat at the table and receive. And if something's not working out for you, state your claim, state your case, and then move on. Just whatever will be, will be. When it comes to having a difficult conversation, and I think for some of you there could be a difficult conversation based on the 5 and 7 of Swords, the most important thing is just to have it. You can think your way through it 100 different ways. I'm sorry, I love you, let's get married, let's get divorced, whatever, coming out, all of those different things. You can go through every possible angle in your head, and when you have it, it's going to be different. It's going to be organic, and it's usually a little bit better. Not always, but usually. I've experienced pleasant surprises in most of those things. Quitting, moving on, whatever it is that you need to do. Or just having something like, if there's a conflict, I'll usually just pick up the phone and say, things are weird. Can we talk? The person's usually very surprised because they don't expect that. They're like, okay. And then by the end of the call, we're okay. So it's never like, I'd rather just clear the air. So don't be afraid to go after what makes you happy. I think it's really, really important for you. Okay, let's look at the next card. One last thing with this. The guides are telling me love will come to you if you're looking for love, but you have to be willing to receive it. So focus on, I have a simple mantra that I repeat a lot. I'm open to love and abundance, and I would say all forms. You could even say the highest forms. That'll help a little bit. So let's modify my mantra. I'm open to receiving love and abundance in all the highest forms. That way you're not just getting junk. It's like in your inbox when people send you spam or something like that. Just say, like, there's a filter. It needs to be a higher energy. I'm ready to receive it, whether it's love or an opportunity. This just starts to open up that flow. If you're literally ready for love, you could just say, I'm open for unconditional love. Let's look at, we're going to do 2 wild cards now, because I feel like that was the key thing. Actually, no, I want to look at the 5 and 7 of Swords. Let's look at accountability and if there's anything that you need to be aware of. So helping you see what possibly might be sliding under the radar. The Magician. This is interesting. So I love both the Magician and the High Priestess. in your environment, or if things are going on around you. This can be an illusionist, someone that's kind of using their skills to try to warp things a little bit. So the moon is an illusion card too. Usually when this happens, we have a feeling that something's off. I want you to pay attention to the feeling. Magician for me is an energetic card, whereas the High Priestess is a clairvoyant card. So when I read for people and I see this, a lot of times I pick up on their sensitivity to energy. So for some of you, you're going to sense things before you see it or see it, clairvoyantly see it or see it with your two eyes. Pick up on the energy of a situation and allow that to color how much you want to participate in it. So if you're looking for a house and you step in and you get a bad feeling, that's not the one. If you go into a workplace and you just feel like this is it, I really feel positive, you're probably going to get the job and it's probably going to work out. If you meet someone for the first time and they say something and you just think there's more to the story, there's more to the story. Go with what you're feeling energetically. And it may also kind of come through as a thought, not necessarily clairaudient, but it's just sort of like in the pit of your stomach, in the heart, somewhere you're going to pick up on it. Trust it. This will help you decide when, where, how, who, what needs to happen with these 5 and 7 of swords. So you'll be able to navigate it and you'll be able to successfully do it, because ultimately, this is a jack of all trades. The magician can do anything. You can do this, okay? Now the wild card. Let's just see what else is coming through. Stick around after the meditation, which I'll do next, because I always pull, or I'm trying to do that recently. I'll pull an extra card for the week ahead. All right, so wild card first. Hierophant. Interesting energy to come through for you. The Hierophant is something that I see with, like, it's a very structure-based card. And you see here, like, this is kind of like a teacher commanding respect. For those of you that are trying to, it's interesting, you might be at a point in your life where you have an opportunity to create something that other people would be interested in. So this could be a product, a service, a curriculum. You may be entering into a mentorship phase in your life where people want to come to you. You may be seeking that out. The one thing that I see with the Hierophant, even in its upright position, is structure is good, but too much structure and too much practicality, because he looks like a mathematician here, can limit possibility. Evolution, for instance. One of the cool things that happens is that, like, as cells recreate, sometimes there's a mistake, and those little modifications help us adapt. So some of those things that happen basically aren't good, and so natural selection will select them out, and when there are good modifications, it selects them in. Same thing is happening, we can see it right now with the virus, right? It continues to mutate, and there's all these new variants. So everything in nature, experimentation is part of it. So don't be afraid to try something and make a little mistake, or try something and have this eureka moment, or this moment of, like, this epiphany. If it's just equations, if it's just like has to do this, even science and math requires new ways of looking at it. Einstein was part of that, for instance, or Euclid, or any of those. I can't remember all the mathematicians, but know that you have to take a leap of faith. You have to try something different. And you can try to find the logic, but even that requires maybe going against what math or science thinks. So metaphysics is going beyond what is known. And so as you step into the unknown, really cool things start to happen. And you realize that this world is so much bigger than you think. Every time you take another step out, it's like, God, it's even bigger. It's even bigger. So I want you to think bigger and don't be so rigid in the approach. Some habit is good though. So like if you're a writer or an artist, it's good to set up a time. And if you're trying to develop your spiritual practice, set up a time and show up, but release the expectations in that period and think, well, let's see, I'm here and I'm focusing on it. That part's the ritual. The other piece though is if I only see what I think I'm going to see, I won't see what I need to see, or I won't see what else is there. So open your eyes and think, what else is there to see? Am I missing something, right? And that's when something really cool can happen. So there you go. Couple of notes here. As Dakota put in the text here and I can copy the link. We have an upcoming collective reading, and here's the link to the collective. I just tabbed out for a second. So there you go. I have a collective coming up on the 28th, this Sunday at 9 a.m. I will theme it right beforehand. I might put something up a day or two beforehand, but I always do a general reading for everyone, and then I usually pick something that makes sense, whether it's intuitive development, abundance, love, whatever. So more to come on that. There's a page on my website, and I'll also make it live on YouTube after today, public, I should say, so you can see that. I'd also like to say, take a moment if you haven't already followed me on social media to do so, because if you can't remember what I'm doing what day, it's really easy to just kind of click on Facebook and you can click the link, or on Instagram on the story. Same thing on YouTube and on Twitter. So almost everywhere, I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. On Twitter, I'm an Ashbaugh. Okay. And I want to say thank you for everyone who's hit like, subscribe, and who's contributed. You make this possible. Let's get into the meditation now. And today, as I'm looking at these cards, I want to go into this well of light that we see here with the flip it upside down. So take a look at this before we meditate. Imagine that you are in front of this sort of radiant pool of water. And as you place your hand in the pool, you notice that light starts to come through it. And this pool is both a reflecting pool and also kind of this place where you can be an alchemist. And like the magician, you can make something wonderful come through that. In my book, there's this place where Gabriel, the main character, has to go into this like well of darkness, and he does put his hand in and transmutes it for a second. We can do that in our life. If there's any cloudy moments, if there's anything that feels dark, you can go into that part of your soul and light it up, touch it, and change the energy. And so that's what we're going to do in this meditation, is infuse light into parts of your life where you feel like it's lacking, or to bring a different spotlight into places where it's, you feel like I just need to see it from a different angle. So we're going to come in with our light and shine it. You're going to be protected, and we're going to be able to elevate things a little bit. So close your eyes if you haven't done so already. See yourself in a magical realm. I really like the sort of nature theme that I saw here. So maybe in your own sort of little private enclave or garden or meadow, with nature around you. You're surrounded by friends and nature. And in front of you, you see this radiant pool. And as you lean over into that pool, you see your reflection. I want you to take a moment and look at that reflection and see all the things that you love, and see whatever it is that you don't love too. It could be, as you start to look at it, you notice that your face kind of goes away and you're looking beyond the reflection at parts of your life. Things from youth, people that you've known, people that you've loved, people that you've lost, arguments that you've had. I want you to focus first on the ones that bring a sense of discomfort or a lack of ease. And maybe pull one of those reflections and hold it in the water. What we're going to do right now is change it. We're basically going to either, if it's a person, we're going to heal the relationship or release the person. If it's a habit, we're going to release the habit. If it's a fear, an uncertainty, a doubt, or a shadow energy, we're going to transmute it into light. So you'll take your hands, breathe a couple of times, and then I want you to go ahead and you can put the energy in front of you, or you can just put it on your heart. Put it on your heart, it'll be a little bit easier. But imagine that as you're touching your heart, maybe you put one hand on the pool of radiance in front of you, and you can see it light up. Whatever was in there, whatever shadow, whatever attachment you put in there, it's now starting to change. And as you connect your heart energy to this, you put love and light, and you say, I release you. I release the attachment from my past, whatever darkness, whatever fear, whatever shadow, whatever doubt exists there. This was a previous incarnation. This was a previous version of myself. I've grown, and I have become something more than that at this point. I no longer need this. You can continue to use your own words and thoughts as you look at other parts of your life that you're ready to release. And then eventually I'd like you to focus on one thing that you'd like to create. And in this act of creation, I want you to really start to see how it might be to step into that life. I want you to build it. Imagine like it's a little it's like a model world that you're creating, and then we're going to step into that world when we're done. We're going to go through this portal of light that you're creating. So if it's a relationship, you can imagine that you're going to land in the arms of someone that you love. If it's some sort of product or service, you can imagine that you're going to be out there distributing it to the world. If it's healing and strength, you can imagine that you're going to step into a stronger body. Just imagine that you're going to step into something better, whatever that is for you. I'm giving you some examples. So meditate on the creation of it, and then we're going to step into it at the end, and you're going to infuse this vision with your with your body as well. So just focus. You can hold a hand on your heart, a hand on this area that you're creating in front of you. You can even imagine that you're creating a portal in front of you, and then you can just step into it after this meditation, whatever works for you. Just see the light growing as I play the singing bowl. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, see additional light and energy being infused into your creation. Realize that thoughts are power. And when you use words to bring those thoughts into some sort of manifestation, that's actually magic. So I want you to imagine that you are thinking it, feeling it, seeing it. And now I want you to say, I am ready to receive this dream, this vision in its highest form. And as you're ready, imagine that you are able to step or move forward and jump in, step in, blend in with this new vision that you have crafted, this new world, this new version of yourself, whatever it is. And give yourself a moment, just like when you wake up from a dream, to take in what it's like to have accomplished this, or to know that you will accomplish it. A feeling of, sometimes you want to cry, right? Joy where it's so much like you're finally letting go of the disbelief. There's a little bit in the moment, and then you believe. I believe. You believe. You feel that sense. I'm doing it. I can do it. I will do it. And just like I said, time is a construct. You just got a vision into what's possible. Now you just have to show up and accomplish what you see there. Okay? Trust that it's possible. Trust that you're deserving of it, and decide that you're ready. One last breath. Inhale. Rub your hands together, put your left hand on your heart, your right hand on top of that. Seal in the vision, seal in the energy that you've created. Feel that your higher self and your physical body are snapping together. This vision is solidifying around you, cementing around you. Own it, hold it in your heart each and every day, and honor it. This is your creation. This is your baby. And we got a lot of divine feminine cards. So like any mother or any father, you've got to nurture this, right? All right, let's take a look now at one more card for the week ahead and see if there's some additional messages for you. And then we will wrap up. So this will work whenever you watch it for the next week. All right, we have Temperance here. Let me just show you the card. She was reversed. But what I like about this is we have the wonderful sort of sign for infinity and new cycles. And the main message that I'm getting here is that you can and you will achieve the balance that you seek. The card is reversed, but that just means that it might take a little bit of time to ease into it. The wizard hat or the witch hat that she has on reminds me a lot of like the Horn of Plenty as well. So I feel like you're going to have exactly what it takes resource-wise to make this happen. I feel like you are more than ready for these opportunities that come into your life. So just decide that I'm going to make it work. I'm ready. There's also a sense of detachment with temperance. So I usually get a April energy with this card too. So for you, you're almost a month ahead for some of the, usually you'll see like little daffodils or flowers in the background. So I'll ascribe it with like spring in the Northern Hemisphere, which would be like April. So I feel like the next 2 months are bringing you towards that cycle that we've talked about today. So really great card, positive energy. And remember, as we look at the sign for eternity, you are eternal. This lifetime is finite, but you are eternal. So step into that higher power and realize you've done it before and you can do it again. Okay, that's it. That was a lovely reading today. Some really nice energies that came through. Never be afraid in tarot when you get something tricky like the Moon or the Seven or the Five of Swords. They come through to help you avoid things. So again, the Seven of Swords, I want to mention, it's a turnstile. So where are you going? If you know the direction, you're not going to get headed in the wrong direction. So everything should be kind of weighed against, how is this bringing me forward or backward? So let's go ahead and wrap up. Like I said earlier, I'd love for you to join me on social media if you haven't already. The links, I know that my moderators have put it in the social media links here. You can also go to the pinned comment from Dakota there and go to my website, and it's all there. I just redesigned it. It should be easier to see stuff. Thank you. I see some late coming super chats, and I've been watching them as they come through here. Thank you so much. When this is on replay later, I'll put a little pinned thank you. But in the meantime, I just want to say I appreciate you. If you would like to join the channel and contribute on an ongoing basis, it's an easy thing that you can do. You can join, you can stop it at any point, you can rejoin, you get to keep your little, your emojis and all that stuff when you come back. So it's something you can start and stop at any time. You can also join me on Patreon, and Patreon is a great way to give back on a consistent basis, as little as $1. Again, you can start and stop at any time. There's also some PayPal options on my main website where you can just do a set amount if you would like to. If you don't have the resources to assist, but you want to show support, this is super helpful. Hit the subscribe button. It's free, and it shows YouTube that this is something that other people should look at. Hit the thumbs up too. Subscribe to notifications. And I also have a newsletter. I don't have the link handy, but it's on my website. You can click on the contact and it'll say like, get free newsletter. That's a great way to get reminders if for some reason Google isn't sending it to your phone. And finally, well, actually two things. You can also use the applaud button. If you're watching this on replay and you want to give back a little bit, it's right next to the thumb up, thumb down button. So you can hit thumb up and then you can hit applaud if you want to. And finally, if you want to get something for your contribution and you're a fan of science fiction, like Lord of the Rings or Dune, I have a book called The Luminous Ones, and it's a little bit of a longer read. It's a little cerebral, but if you're listening to my readings, you're probably a little cerebral. So you can read a chapter for free if you go to Google Play or to Amazon or to Kobo. All the digital ones, you can read the first chapter and see if you like it. And if you like it, you can get the whole book. And it's available worldwide. So that is it for today. Thank you so much for staying with me for the past hour and 20 minutes or so, working on yourself, creating a wonderful community here. Thanks to Maria and Dakota for helping me out. Join me, if you will, for the collective reading on the 28th. And I just want to say thank you so much in the meantime. I hope you have a great weekend and a great month ahead. And thanks again for being yourself. All right. Take care, Pisces. Much love and light. I'll see you again on the weekend and next month. All right, guys. Bye-bye.